Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you're having some nicer weather than we're having up here where you're at. So we got a lot of stuff to cover here. We'll get into it. Jeff has done a great job putting together some consumer-oriented videos around some themes, and then we have some older consumer-related videos, and we have lots of guys that ask to be able to put those on their websites or landing page or whatever it may be. So Missy and Trish have done a great job of putting those up and getting those ready for you. So Missy, can you jump in and let the guys know and what and how to do that if they want to?
Yep, absolutely. So you can find all of those now listed underneath the library, the consumer video library, as Mike's pointing out there. Every one of them, I think there's about 17 of them that are listed there. We have them kind of grouped in different series, and so some of them do refer to the next video in the series, so you just kind of want to keep an eye on that if you don't want to use all of them. Each of them come with a download link. So on like the first one there at the end of the text, you can see there's a kind of a green download link at the bottom right. When you click on that, you'll just go ahead and save that video to your computer. And that is what will allow you to take that file, and then you will go ahead and upload it or put it on your, your YouTube channel, your Vimeo channel, Wistia, your website, whatever it is, that's where that has to go. So again, you can't just link to it directly from this page that we're showing you right here, because that will actually force them to have to log in. That's behind our members' website. So it's very important. You do need to download the video. We're actually giving you that video file for you to go ahead and put it on your site, whatever that might be, YouTube, Vimeo, your website. And then once it's there, then you can send it out in send the link out in a email to your warm leads, or drive them to that spot on your website, wherever it might be. But again, those are available to you here while you are a 5Q member.
Super. So thanks, Missy, Jeff, and Tricia for putting that together for everybody. So one of the things I want to cover here is one of my favorite market analysts is Mark Hulbert, and he had an opinion where it says only two other times since George Washington was president was the U.S. stock market been as far above this trend as it is now. So the internet bubble was one time, and the 1973-74 bear market was another time. Guys, in the 1973-74 bear market, how long did it take for the market to get back to ground even? Actually, this goes all the way back to 1965, but how long before we saw the market get back to ground even? Very good. Yep, Mark got it. 1983. Yep, Davis got it. So what are they talking about? The U.S. stock market since January 1793 on a dividend and inflation-adjusted basis. So you see this is exponential trend line. Sometimes it's below, sometimes it's above, and there's your 1973-74. There's your the 2000 stock market bubble. But it hasn't been this far up since these two times. So again, when we talk about the market being overvalued, do we only look at one thing, or is our dashboard once again having all sorts of warning lights saying, warning, 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 Will Robinson? Is it just this one thing, or is it the Warren Buffett model? Is it the Shiller cap model? Is it this model? They're all saying what? The market's fairly priced or way overpriced? Yeah, way over. The chart shows exponential trend line, which is the line that most closely fits the data on the logarithmic scale. Such a scale is one in which the same vertical distance always represents the same percentage change. As you can see, there have been a number of times over the past 227 years in which the stock market was well below the trend, each of which represented a highly opportune occasions to establish long-term equity positions. So, say if you would have gotten into the market here, you would have gotten into the market here, 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 and even here, what would have happened? Would have had unbelievable returns if you'd gotten into when it's below that trend line. Now is definitely not one of those times. In fact, as the chart shows, there have only been two other times, the 1960s and from the late 1960s and early 70s, and at the top of the internet bubble. We all know what happened after those two periods. Here's some disturbing news based on that is those of you who think you're basing your investment strategy on history, the U.S. stock market must fall 43% just to get back to the trend line. Has to fall 43% just to get back to the trend line. So that's something to keep in mind, and why we have our portfolios adjusted for what ratio? 50-50. And thanks, Ron, for sending this article. It's actually about a year old, but it was talking about, or a couple years old, but it was saying bonds or annuities, what's the best way to generate retirement income? Many experts argue that annuities are a better way to generate retirement income than bonds. Simple income annuities provide a better way for retirees to generate income when they compare it to bonds. In Why Bond Funds Don't Belong in Retirement Portfolios, Professor Wade Pho presents a concept called Retirement Income Efficient Frontier. He performs a Monte Carlo analysis to see how a number of different portfolios perform in an unknown financial market conditions against the two main goals in retirement: not running out of money and leaving a legacy. The portfolio he tests consists of stocks and bonds, or stocks and annuities. His results show that the most efficient portfolios are those with stocks and income annuities, but without bonds. These are the portfolios that offer the smallest chance of running out of money and the greatest chance of leaving a legacy behind. Guys, do your clients want to do anything other than those two things? Make sure they don't run out of money, and make sure there's some money left for their kids. What else do they want to do besides that? Income annuity outperform bond funds as a retirement tool because they offer mortality credits. So this is the efficient frontier for both of those. All stocks, preserve financial assets on this side, and meet spending goals on this side. So as efficient frontier, which one is better? All stocks, all bonds, or some combination of stocks and income? All stocks, all bonds, all income annuities, or some combination of stocks and income annuities? Where do we want to be on this curve? We want to be right up here. So you can see having some, about a 50-50 here, stocks and income annuities would be what? Yeah, that's the best thing. It also costs less to fund retirement with annuities versus bond ladders. David Blanchett, head of retirement research at Morningstar Investment Management. Do they have any vested interest in annuities, guys? Does Morningstar have any vested in pushing annuities? No. And Michael Fink at Dean of American College also studies annuities in their paper, Annuitized Income and Optimal Asset Allocation. Using a slightly different lens than Professor Pho, they compared setting money aside in retirement and fund a bond ladder versus buying an immediate income annuity. Creating enough income through a bond ladder to last enough through 95% of the couple's lives costs $25 for every dollar of annual income needed. For example, a 65-year-old would want to spend $100,000 a year. It would require them to set aside $2 million, 25.07, which should be $2.5 million to have that get that $100,000 of income. If they created the same thing by buying an immediate annuity, it would have been 18.87. So is that a small or a big difference, guys? To give them the exact same chance of running out of money, the exact same income, the exact same everything, which one is better? 2.5 million or 1.87? Because if you think about it, what would this allow you to do? If you were a couple, what would this allow you to do? One or two things, which is what? Yeah, spend more, Kevin, exactly. Or retire earlier. I didn't even think of that one. That's another one. Yeah. So the annuity costing less than the bond ladder has two important implications. You can retire with less money, which might mean you can retire earlier. Very good, you guys. Or you can actually invest your money in riskier things. So the equity portion could actually be riskier, but potentially with higher earning. And then the other one is that you could spend more if you wanted to. Exactly right. And then who else has said that annuities are way better, specifically FIA annuities are way better than bonds? Who else has said that? So we got Wade Pho. Very good, Mark Ibbotson. Yep. So we got Wade Pho, we got Morningstar, and we also have Ibbotson. Is Ibbotson known for pushing insurance, or is he a stock guy? Yeah, he's a stock guy. He's a stock guy. So even he said, when you look at, are we at a point where bonds should have fantastic returns like they did for the last 20 years, or are we at the lower end of the spectrum where they're going to struggle going for the next 20 years? Bonds. Which one? Fantastic next 20 years, or they're going to struggle for the next 20 years? they're going to struggle because we're at the lowest interest rates we've seen since in the last 5,000 years. So looking at below median bond return environments, the average rate of return going forward, according to Ibbotson, long-term bonds would be 1.87, large cap stocks 11.43, FIA 4.42, and here's what it says based on his research. 60-40 stocks and bonds would be a 7.6. 60-20 stocks, 60 stocks, 20 bonds, 20 FIAs would be 8.12, or 60-40 stocks and FIA would be 8.63. For somebody who wants a diversified portfolio with a minimum amount of risk, which one is the best thing to do? So should you have any bonds, if your clients have any bonds right now, what would you call that advisor? Informed or ill-informed? I want everybody to answer this. I only got 2 answers right now. 3 answers. Yeah, now everybody's doing it. Yeah, so if you guys, if your clients are still in bonds, hey, have your clients in stocks. Have 50%, 60% of your clients' money's in stocks, but your clients should have no money in bonds right now because of what I say, or because research upon research upon research says that. The research, the science says that. So today we want to do a little tape review, and we're going to look at a 3-minute tape, and we're going to look at a 6-minute tape. So the tape we're looking at is investment weighting. What are you going to think we're going to find with a 3-minute tape? The guy who spent 3 minutes covering investment weighting. Did a great job or not a great job? So let me get it all set up here. Yeah, not. So let me get going here. So this is the script we're looking for investment weighting. So investment weighting is called what? Allocation, right? Asset allocation. So fancy word for growth is and versus safety is preservation. Everybody the same? Bell curve. And with the bell curve, we talk about a foot race. Why do we talk about a foot race at the beginning of that script? Remember, we talk about this technique that we use over and over and over again. Why do we talk about a bell curve there we go, David. Yeah, it's non-financial. It's non-financial. So we want people to agree. Before we talk about their situation, we want people to agree that the subject we're going to talk about, there are some norms for society. There are some things that we can all agree on the way that we should approach it before we talk about them and their money. Because if we just jump in and talk about them and their money, what might they do? If we point in, whoa, you're really screwing up here, but what might they do? Defend themselves. Knee-jerk reaction to defend themselves. We don't want them to do that. So instead we say, hey, in real life, is this the way this idea would work? And in real life, is this the way this topic would work? In real life, is this the way the math would work? And if they say, yes, in real life, this is the way it would work, how much more difficult is it for them to then defend it after the fact? It becomes really difficult for them to do that. And then we ask them, hey, are you wild and crazy people? Are you stick in the mud people? Are you somewhere in between? Have we even showed them at that point where they are on the curve when we ask them that? No, because if you've shown them where they are, they just might, not everybody, but may 20% of the people defend where they are on that curve. Yeah, we don't want them to defend. So we get them, before we show them where they are on the curve, we get them to tell us where they think they should be on the curve. Then we show them where they are on the curve. Does that make sense? So that's what we want to be doing. So let's listen to this first gentleman and how he covers it with his clients. So I'm going to choose him. We'll press play.
Right now, you're paying 2.11% average weighted account fees across all of your shares. If we could.
Okay, I just want to finish. So we're going to listen to the last minute or so of him talking about fees before we get into asset weighting. And I want you to tell me before we get into the asset weighting, I want you to tell me if he got what he needed from fees. I purposely left this in here so you could tell me whether you think he got what he wanted from the client when it came to fees.
Right now, you're paying 2.11% average weighted account fees across all of your shares. If we could reduce that just to 2%, we would give you an additional $5,000 per year at retirement, just by reducing your fees by that 1/10%. Now, who do you think is keeping that money?
Yeah.
Well, if you take the change, you're keeping the money.
Yeah.
No.
Not they are.
It's not they are. Exactly right. Now,
So did he get what he needed there? We got one yes and a couple of no's. Listen carefully again.
you're paying 2.11% average weighted account fees across all of your shares. If we could reduce that just to 2%, we would give you an additional $5,000 per year at retirement, just by reducing your fees by that 1/10%. Now, who do you think is keeping that money?
Yeah.
Well, if you take the change, you're keeping the money.
Yeah.
No.
Not they are.
It's not they are. Exactly right.
So what did he say right there, Alfred? Yeah. He said, if you don't keep that lower fees, then they're going to keep them. So the client did say it, but it was because the advisor had his head on straight, or he's just lucky that the client jumped to that conclusion. So was it because of the advisor, or was he just pure luck? Just pure luck. So Jeff, what was in this advisor's mind about fees? What was he trying to convey, Jeff, to the client about fees?
Well, that they could save $5,000.
And how does that work in effectiveness to get people to move their money?
Yeah, it doesn't work because, you know, the people that we meet with, if they've been paying it for years and years and years and not missed it, it's not going to be that big a deal to them. And I get this a lot where people will say, well, I just ran it through the software and we can only save them like $1,200 in fees. Are they really even going to care about that? And the answer is no, they're not going to care about that. But are they going to care that somebody's stealing that from them?
So that's the motive there.
Yeah, it has to be about the motive. It's never about the number. If you start arguing about a number, well, some people will, you'll just have to agree to disagree. Some people will say, yeah, whatever. Yeah, you know, somebody with $1 million, are they going to care about $1,000 in fees? Or you get these arguments that, well, but we made so much.
Yes. So Jeff, you drop a $5 bill on the ground, and you don't notice you drop the $5 bill on the ground, and you walk on, and later on you think, my gosh, I thought I had a $5 bill in my pocket. How disappointed are you?
I'm not that disappointed. I mean, I'm just thinking, oh well, I wonder what happened. I'll look for it at home.
Right.
We'll see.
Okay, so then you drop a $5 bill, and you see that you dropped a $5 bill. Another guy picks it up and puts it in his pocket. And you say, dude, that's mine. He says, no, it's not. Now what happens?
Yeah, now I'm mad.
But it's only $5. You told me you weren't worried about $5.
Yeah, it's the principle of the thing. He knew I dropped it. He knew it was mine. But he won't give it back.
So guys, yeah, that's right. So in Jeff's example here, $1,200 versus $5,000. Jeff could make this client way more angry about $1,200 than this client is about the $5,000. How? How would he make the client way more mad about $1,200 than this client is about $5,000? How would he do that? It's the whole purpose of the 21-point checklist. How is he going to do that? Is the purpose of fees to show them? Yeah, Nick's got it. Is the purpose of the fees to show them how much in fees they're paying? Is that the purpose? No, that's right. What is the purpose? Kevin's got it. Mark's got it. Tom's got it. Jeannie's got it. Bob's got it. Yeah. The fact that the guy didn't tell them that they didn't have to pay that $1,200 so that he could put that $1,200 in his own pocket. That's what gets them angry. That's and angry at you or angry at the current advisor. As, you know, we're going after people with money. So are they driving the car they want? Are they going out to eat when they want? Are they going on vacation when they want? Yes. So an extra $5,000, as Jeff said, they haven't had it last year or the year before that, and the year before that. It did not affect them in the least. But we think, geez, I found them $5,000. They're obviously going to move their current advisor. You've heard me tell you this. My record was I showed a lady how to save $28,000, and she stayed. Why did she stay, even though I showed her how to save $28,000 a year? Why did she stay? This is before I used the 21-point checklist. Well, her guy could fix it. That could be, but she didn't get it fixed. I ran into her at an expo a year later, and she hadn't fixed it. Her guy hadn't fixed it. She hadn't fixed it. Why did she not change? Yeah, there was no advisor motive. Was that $28,000 a year affecting her lifestyle at all? No. So guess what she didn't? So if it's not affecting your lifestyle, they think what? Don't want to rock the boat. I'm just going to leave everything where it's at. So you gotta get people to tell you the motive. Okay, so that was the end of fees. Now let's listen to him as he goes into investment weighting and see if he gets what he wants there. So here we go.
Now, you guys heard of University of Chicago? Have you heard of it? Okay, and New York University? And big school. They won several Nobel Prizes in economics. Their economics departments got together a few years ago and did this big statistical abstract describing investor profiles, all right? And we've taken a portion of that. They gave a formula for determining an aggressive investor, a moderate investor, and a conservative investor, okay? Deborah, would you consider yourself to be aggressive, moderate, or conservative as an investor?
Probably conservative.
Conservative, okay. Dennis, what about yourself?
Same way.
Okay, same way.
Okay, so he did cover where they're at before he did ask them, are they aggressive, conservative, or moderate before he showed them where they're at. So is that right or wrong? Yeah, that's right. He got them to say before he showed them where they're at. So, but did he cover all these things? Again, is he getting what he needs because of his skill or because of luck? Luck. Yeah. And here's what I tell guys. You gotta, is everybody the same difficulty to close? No. So you got to scale 1 to 10, 1 being you're in the right place at the right time, they're going to move the money. 10 is they're extremely difficult. Their son is their advisor. And then there's everything in between. The nice thing about the 21-point checklist is it's going to move you up from just closing the number 1, the simple people, the easy people, the at the right time, at the right place people, to 2s, to 3s, to 4s, to 5, to 6, to 7, to 8, to 9, to 10, as you get better and better at the 21-point checklist. And the good thing and the sad thing about 21-point checklist is it's so good, it works even when you screw up. But is it going to work to close the 10s, or is it going to work to close the 5s in difficulties if you do it wrong? The 5s. That means you're missing half of the people. And generally, do the 5s through 10s have more or less money? The 5s to 10s in difficulties have more or less money. They have more money. So if you want to close those big tickets, you got to be better and better and better at the 21-point checklist. Just don't go through the motions and then luck out. Use the skills so that they'll tell themselves 15, 16, 17 times their guy's screwing them, and when they say that in their own words, they're going to leave. But those people, they're not going to jump to the conclusions like these folks are. So we're going to go ahead and jump back in here.
So a conservative investor, you take 100 minus your average age. Your average age combined is 59. Okay? That means you should have 41% or no more than 41% of your securities of your portfolio subject to market risk, which means you could lose your money. All right? Obviously, when you're younger and you've got 20, 30, 40 years of working lifetime, you can be much more aggressive because you've got more years you're going to be working to offset market losses, right? But as you get older, you become more conservative. So you should have no more than 41%, according to the Nobel Prize-winning economists, those universities. How much do you actually have in market risk? All of it. You're 100%.
Did he get their agreement that that was a good number? No, he did not. So why do we go through the whole young versus old? I mean, if you're young, are you worried about inflation? Yeah. Are you worried about having enough money for next year? No. If you're old, are you worried about inflation? Do you even buy green bananas? No. Are you worried about having money next year? Yes. So where are you? Are you a 7-year-old or are you a 97-year-old? No, I'm neither. I'm in between. Right. So where should you be? Here's what the thumb rule says. It says you should be at this number. What does that number add up to? Oh, it says I should be at 43%. Yeah, 43%. So is that right in the middle, just like we talked about? Yeah, it is. And why would that be a good idea? Blah, 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 blah. You make them tell you that it's the right thing to do. If they tell you that's the right thing to do, then guess what? If they tell you that's their number and that's the right number and that's the number they should be at, then what will they not do down the road? Argue. That's right, Dale. They won't argue.
Exposed to market risk. And we've all gone through, and you guys both said you were conservative, right? We've all gone through 2000 and to 2002 and 2007 and 2009, and the market's been up since then, but what does the market do at some point in the not too distant future? What's it going to do? Fall. It's going to fall. You're exactly right. Now, no one knows when it's going to fall, but historically in every bull bear market cycle, there have been 3 major rises and falls. And we've gone through 2, 2000 and 2002, 2007 and 2009, and
so what is this guy doing? How come he can finish this script in 3 minutes? Why can he finish his script in 3 minutes? Yeah, there's no questions. He's telling, selling, preaching, and teaching. He also skipped the first half of the script. But the big problem is what? He's telling, selling, preaching, and teaching, not asking questions. Right, Bob? Here we go.
Question mark out here. Now, I don't know when the market is going to fall. Historically, that correction has been between 30 and 35%. That's when the market drops. So if you lost 35% of your portfolio, would you be pissed off or would you be dancing?
No, I wouldn't be happy at all.
You would not be happy at all, right? And then because you couldn't hard to replace that, right? And that's why more of your money needs to be conserved as opposed to be exposed to market risk.
Who said most of their money should be conserved, or part of their money needs to be conserved versus market risk? Who said that? Yeah. Does he have any buy-in at this point? No. So we'll finish it up and see if he gets what he needs.
Right. Your fund's average manager tenure, this again is for Morningstar.
Now he's off to the next topic, manager tenure. Did he get what he needed with assets weighting? You need 2 things with asset weighting. What are the 2 things that you need with asset weighting? What are the 2 things you need with asset weighting? Get them to tell you how much or where they are in the bell curve, right, Mark? Get them to give you their number. They should tell you what that number is on how much they want in growth and how much they want in risk. Yep, that's the one thing. What's the more important thing they need to say, though, at asset weighting? What is the most important thing? Nick says, the number and their advisor didn't show them their numbers close. Taking too much risk, yes, but that's not enough. Remember, the purpose of this is motive. Okay, Alfred's got it. Good job, Alfred. Why they were exposed. And Alfred, why were they exposed? Why did the advisor have them too much in equities? Why did the advisor have them too much? What do we need them to tell you about why the advisor had them too much in equities? That's right. He gets paid more, Nick. That's right, Mark. He gets paid more. Because, guys, let me ask you a question. One of the things that drives me crazy is those friggin' Ken Fisher commercials where they say, we get paid differently. We only get paid when we do well. That's so much BS, right? So much BS. So the thing is, let me ask you a question, guys. Do people get paid more? Do advisors get paid more on an FIA or on assets under management? Alfred's got it. Everybody's got it. Everybody's got it. Yes, you get paid more. The advisor gets paid more under assets under management because as the account grows up, they get paid 1% on that or whatever it is, even at 1% of that, and then a bigger number the next year, and a bigger number the next year, and a bigger number the next year, and a bigger number the next year. How many years? Do people invest for 30-year timetables or do they invest for 1-year timetables? Yes, long-term time, certainly not 1, maybe not 30, but closer to 30 mark than 1, right? So then if they're invested for more than a 1, 2, 3, or 4-year timetable, they'll pay more with assets under management than FIA, right? So why does Ken Fisher, if you've looked at my Ken Fisher paper, in the years 2007, 2008, he had clients in what percentage in stocks prior to 2007, 2008? What percentage in stocks? Yep, 97% in stocks. Why did Ken Fisher have them 97% in stocks? Why does the typical money manager have them 97% in stocks and bonds? So they can get paid on the whole thing. So investment weighting, yes, you need to get them to say the number, but if you want to do it 100%, that's 50% right. If you want to do it 100% right, you need to get them to tell you that the reason he has you so heavily weighted in assets that are not safe is because he doesn't get paid on the safe things, or he gets paid more to have you in things where there's only growth, not safety. Does that make sense, everybody? So now let's listen to another advisor that takes 6 minutes to do this. So we'll listen to this advisor. Here we go.
So you've heard of Chicago University, NYU University. Those are two big universities. They kind of have a noted economics department. And a few years ago, they came out with a thumb rule.
Again, he just jumped right into the middle here again, like the other guy, right? I don't know why that was the case, but here we go.
On how to say, if I'm conservative, aggressive, moderate, how do I diversify my portfolio?
Mm-hmm. With your risk tolerance.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So
sorry, I'm going to interrupt here, but I just want to be clear on why we do this stuff first. Have any of you ever asked somebody where they are and they say, I'm aggressive? Have you ever asked anybody and they said, I'm aggressive? I have, lots of times. Way too many times, especially if they've got a lot of money and we just ended up with, if you would have asked people whether they're conservative or aggressive even a year ago, what would most people say? Aggressive. Why? Because they'd seen 10 years of up market. So guess what they are? Yeah, I'm aggressive because you can't lose money in the market, right? I got 10 years, didn't lose a single penny in the market. Just making money. Do I want them to ever say that? Ever. Do I even want 20% of people to say they're aggressive? No. That's why I go through the bell curve and I say, so have you ever heard of a bell curve? Yes, I've heard of a bell curve. So like if I have a bunch of 50-year-olds, they're identical, and they run a marathon, will all of them finish to the line at the same time? No. Will some people finish really fast? Yeah. Will some people finish really slow? Yeah. But most people finish where? Right in the middle. That's where we come up with this bell curve. So when we look at investors with bell curves, we find some people are wild and crazy. They'll take their Social Security check, go down to the pool tab or go down to the casino and bet it all on black or put it all into the slot machines. That's the wild and crazy people. We have other people who are super, super conservative. They're going to bury their money under the big rock in the backyard. But most people are what? Wild and crazy, throwing their money away at the casino or sticking the mud in the, burying the money in the backyard? Where are most people, folks? And what does everybody say? In the middle. And then I say, so would you consider yourself wild and crazy like that guy at the casino, or sick in the mud conservative like that person burying their money, or where would you consider yourself? What do 99.9% of people say at that point? Middle. Somewhere in the middle. So do I have to deal with anybody saying that they're aggressive at that point? So I've avoided having to overcome that objection. Again, the best way to overcome objection is make sure it doesn't come up. 80% of people are not going to say aggressive, but do I even want to deal with the 20% that are going to say that they're aggressive? No. So I just do it for everybody. And the people, the 80% that we're going to be saying in the middle anyways, it makes them feel what? Good or bad about their decision to be in the middle? Makes them feel good. So you got the 80% that we're going to say the middle anyways, feeling good, and I've avoided the other 20% that we're going to say aggressive from having to have a push me, pull you, and spend 10 minutes overcoming that objection and avoid the objection completely with a 1-minute script. Does that make sense, guys? So now that's why you want to do this first part, to avoid, again, a lot of people, just like these two guys both said, why are we doing this? This seems kind of stupid. The reason generally there'll be stories like this up front is because I know that an objection could come up. And the best way to overcome objection is to do what, guys? Overcome it before it's said. And does this overcome it before it's said, if we get them to do it the way I just did there? Yes. I just never want to deal with objections. So here we go. It's not that I can't. I can handle objections, but it takes time, money, and effort. It takes time and effort. I don't want to spend any time and effort on it. I'd rather do it the easy way. So now let's jump back in where he's talking about the economist here.
So, when you look at a bell curve here, you ever seen a bell curve? Mm-hmm. So we go up here. This is the top 10%, the bottom 10%, and I would say these people are the kind of people that put their money in a mattress. Don't trust anybody. These are the kind of people that don't invest, but they're down going to Wendover or whatever. And then here's the majority of the meat and potatoes of society. They're somewhere in the conservative to moderate to aggressive category. And so when we looked at your...
Did he make the people who are aggressive sound crazy and the people who are ultra-conservative sound crazy? He did mention them both, didn't he? But why do I go out of my way to make those people sound crazy? Why do I go out of my way to make those people sound crazy? Digging a rock in the backyard and burying their money, or taking their Social Security check and going to the casino to blow it all on slot machines. Why do I make that's right, to make them extreme? Because who wants to say that they are an extreme person? Yeah, that's right. Steve says it. That's not the way normal people behave. And does anybody want to be abnormal like that? So I'm guiding them to say what? When I say that crazy person on the left, that crazy person on the right, I'm guiding them to say I'm what? Crazy left, crazy right, or somewhere what? In the middle. So I'm guiding them with those extremes. So here we go. I'm going to back it up just about 5 seconds here.
And so when we looked at your portfolio, this is what we found your investment weighting, it's called weighting, is. So 17% in principal preservation.
Did he get them to say what number they should be at before he tells them what number they are at? No. So he's in danger here of them fighting him. Let's see if he gets by, if he's lucky, or if he gets into trouble here.
And then 83% market sensitive investments. Now, what I didn't do is there's really two types of investments. There's market sensitive, which are stocks and bonds, and what would be a principal preservation.
See, now he's going back up here. So he's covering the steps, but is he doing it in order? No, he's not. And if you do things out of order, if you've ever tried to put together a piece of IKEA furniture out of order, what's going to happen? Good things or bad things? Bad things. It's going to take much longer to put that piece of furniture together. It's going to not come together quite as well. You're going to actually have to spend more time taking it apart and then trying to re-put it back. The reason we have these, and is it okay to have the crib notes in front of you when you're doing the 21-point checklist? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. So follow, there's a reason we have these steps. You're building a Socratic argument, or you're helping them build their own Socratic argument. You start little, and if A plus B, if A is greater than B, and then you say, well, how about B and C? Which one's greater? B is, and then C and D, which is greater? C, which is greater? D. If they build it like that, what can they not say at the end? They can't disagree. They've built their own Socratic argument. That's what we're doing here. So even if you cover all these things, you do them out of order, it won't work nearly as well as doing them in order. But let's see how he does here.
Type of account. Cash, right? Money market, CDs, etc. Or checking or whatever. So this is what your assets are put into.
Mm-hmm.
So from your standpoint, do you see your folks, well, let's just go through this thumb rule here. So this is what they would say. If you're aggressive, take 120 minus your age, and this is what the percentage should be at market risk. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you see he's covering all the steps, but he's doing them haphazardly. And all he's getting from them is what? Verbal answers? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Is that worth anything? No. And why do you think that they're doing this? Do you think they're following a cohesive argument at this point, or is he all over the place with his questions and directions? He's all over the place, and they're not following a cohesive Socratic A is greater than B, if B is greater than C, C is greater than D, D is greater than. So here we go.
This is just an example of a 60-year-old, I think. This is a moderate investor, and this is a conservative investor. So what would you guys say you are?
Very aggressive, I guess.
No, I mean from your personality.
I would lean more toward conservative, especially at this age, because you don't have that much time to make it up if we lose.
Yeah, so you.
What could he have done right there when she said that, especially at this age? I'm not aggressive. I'm more conservative at this stage. What should he have done there? Yeah, which ape? That's right, Dale. But what ape? Which one of the apes should he have done? The A, the P, or the E? That's right, Nick. What should he have done, guys? Empower. The E. Empower. 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 Wow. You know what? You nailed it, especially at this age. I didn't even get to walk it through why that's the case. You actually jumped to the conclusion that the economists at the top schools at the University of Chicago and NYU, the top economists in the top schools in this country, came to that conclusion. You came to the same conclusion they did, and you did it a lot faster, easier, and smarter than they did. So you're exactly right. Especially at your age, be more conservative. You nailed it right on the head, Agnes. That's terrific. You could be a university professor in economics. Awesome job. That's what you do there. Now, how does she feel about herself? Especially, how does she feel about herself about that answer? Can she ever go backwards on that answer at that point? Can she ever say that she should be anything but more conservative after I've empowered her on her answer there? So that would have been a fantastic time to empower. Instead, he just jumps in. He doesn't do anything wrong. He just missed an opportunity to do something right.
Yeah, so you recognize that. I don't have to go through the kid's grandma example.
This is kind of.
So are you being conservative, or are you being unbelievably aggressive?
Did you hear what he said there? He said, so I don't need to go through the kid and older example. Who's he talking? Do they know what the kid older example is, guys? No. So he's talking to himself. But here's the thing, Jeff, do we ever skip something like that?
No, you don't want to skip anything like that. You don't know. The purpose of that is to get them to say you have to be worried about two things, the inflation and volatility. And he's not getting any of that. The whole purpose of the younger and older is to talk about inflation versus volatility, and that whole thing is just out the window.
Yeah, don't skip steps, guys.
Unbelievably aggressive.
Right. So really, you guys, to be honest, have really played the game right. Meaning you're going to be.
What's he doing here? He's gutsing them. He's empowering them. Exactly right. That's a great thing.
Able to retire pretty much the way you want to, in a lot of ways. And so, but at the same time, you did say something. You recognize that as you're getting older, should you be getting more aggressive or less aggressive?
Less aggressive.
Yeah.
To protect what we have.
Yeah. So.
Great question and great answer, right? So you're doing good things here.
You recognize that maybe you're probably, what would you say that you probably are? Closer to conservative, closer to moderate, or somewhere in between? Or definitely one or the other?
I would say in between, maybe.
Okay.
You know what's on?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So has anybody showed this to you, or have you seen this? Have someone showed you the thumb rule, rather, so that you can adjust?
I've seen this before, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I guess in your instance, is it really necessary to be that aggressive? Because do we know what's going to happen in the future? Since 2001, for the money managers, I don't know if you've ever paid attention, I don't know if you guys have, but when the market crashes, when the market at its lows, do you know how much money is coming out of the market at its lows?
Guys, do they have any clue? No. So why do we use the analogy, hey, if you could flip a coin and if you call it right, if you call the coin right, we can give you twice as much money, but if you call it wrong, we're going to reduce your lifestyle by half. How many of you want to take that bet? Why do we make that? Why do we talk about that versus, hey, did you know how many money managers got it right when the market went down? Because they're not educated on that. And could you get an argument about that? Yes, you can get an argument about that. But are you going to get an argument about this coin flip? How many people are going to take that bet? How many people will take that bet? None. So do I want a story where the answer is easy and I'm always going to get them to say what I want, or try to inform them about what happened with money managers and them taking money out and whether they got them right or wrong? Guys, that's a what? That's a mess. So I want my analogies to be what? Simple and easy. And do I ever want to ask a question that I don't know how they're going to answer? No. Do I know how they're going to answer the coin flip question? Jeff, have you ever heard anybody in the last 20 years that when they asked the client this question, they said, yeah, I'd take that bet all day long?
No, I've not heard that.
Yeah, out of the 60,000 tapes, nobody's ever said that. That's the kind of questions I want to ask, the ones where I know how they're going to answer. Does that make sense? Let's keep going here. We're going to finish up.
You would think it should be a certain way, but what it really is, what do you think? What do you think it really is? So when the market bottoms out, generally that's the largest volume of money coming out of the market.
Because people get scared to pull it out.
Right. And so once I always say left the store, everyone's gone from the store now. Now a different activity can happen. So in March of 2000, when the NASDAQ hit its all-time high, you probably think, wow, we're at all-time high. NASDAQ's doubled in a year. Maybe we should get light.
See, is he getting anything? Is this information here helping him at all for what he wants to get right here? No. And I'll tell you, this gentleman was an insurance guy, and he just got his RIA. So guess what he's all excited about? His newfound knowledge about stocks. So he wants to share that and show them how smart he is. Guys, is our job to show how smart we are, or to have them tell us that their guy's taking advantage of them? Are we ever going to get a client by showing them how smart we are? No. We get a client by them saying their current, in their own words, their guy's taking advantage of them.
Unload, but there was more money flowing into stocks at the market high as it busted. And then when the market came down, right before it came off the bottom, there was more money coming out of the market. So money managers even are doing things that you and I would think are wrong. They should be buying more down here and selling and getting out up here. And that happens that's statistics everywhere. So we see that there's probably some changes that need to take place there. Are you guys okay? We've got 3 or 4 left.
Yeah.
So, do you guys remember a few years ago when?
So he's on to the next topic. Did he get either the 2 things that we need? Did he get a number from them on where they think they need to be? Nope. Did he get them to say that their current guy has them all too heavily in aggressive things because that's how he makes his money? No. So guys, but did he hit most of these bullets? So what good is it, Jeff, if you hit all the bullets?
Yeah, it doesn't do you any good. You have to. The bullets are there to help you to get that information. If you're not going to get that information, then the bullets aren't going to help you at all.
But when we talk to advisors, I swear, I did the script and it didn't work. I did the script and it didn't work. And did they do 95% of the script? Yes. What 5% did they forget?
Yeah, the most important 5%. I mean, the thing I always tell people is you're not trying to be a witch and cast a spell. It doesn't do any good to say all the words in all the right order. What we're really interested in are the answers. So if you don't even care about the answers, but just getting through your spell, it's not going to work.
The whole purpose of all these bullets are to get them at the end to say, in this particular case, I need to be this much in stocks and this much in guaranteed. And the reason my guy has me so heavily weighted in stocks and bonds, things that can lose money, is because he wants to make money off of me. So he's got me way over heavily weighted in a position I should not be in so that he could make more money. So that's what we need them to say. Make sense? So we're using asset allocation both to lock them into how much they want in stocks and how much they want in the FIAs, and more importantly, to get them to say, my guy has me way overweighted because he wants to make money on me and he could care less about my future, my need or desire to be more conservative. Does that make sense? Coolio. You guys, then, thanks for being on today. You guys have a wonderful rest of the week, and we'll talk to you all next Monday. Thanks, everybody.